Well, let me ask you a question though. Since we're sitting here watching movie trailers and stuff like that, going into the topic of like Marvel and DC movies that they made from the comic books, which ones do you think they did justice for, and which ones do you think they didn't do so much justice for? Like, what kept it real to the script? I know you were saying the original Batman didn't keep it real.
The Michael Keaton Batman.
The Michael Keaton Batman. Right, because they added, obviously...
That the Joker killed his parents.
That the Joker killed his parents. And also, there wasn't really any Vicky
Vale.
Vicky Vale. She was just like in a little bit of a comic book.
They made her into a character after them.
Do you think that
After them.
the later Batman movies were more original to the script of the comic books?
Well, the other thing too is like you could never really get it down. They constantly, even in the comic books, they constantly retcon, they reboot, they constantly change the origins of the characters and where they started from. They constantly do that over and over again.
Right. Now, I see what you're saying, but basically, what comic book movie do you think was just as good? Like, you read a comic book back in the days, like Fantastic Four. Do you think they did a good representation in the movies of Fantastic Four?
Well, they kept screwing up Doctor Doom left and right.
Right. In fact, they could have used more Doctor Doom in their show also. He didn't come out till the end. And the second reboot, I didn't like as much as the first one with Jessica Alba. That one I like better than the new one with Miles Teller. You know what I'm trying to say?
The Sony flop.
Right,
the big time Sony
right,
flop.
it was a Sony flop, and I love superhero movies, but that one really was turning me off a little bit. And I'm not a huge, I'm not as big as you as knowing the comic book as far as...
Yeah, but it's like I said, also I don't know everything because they keep changing it. Like even from back in the day, the comic book characters, they kept changing their origins and their birth stories over and over again. They kept doing it left and right. So there's not really... If you're going to do a comic book movie, you can never really do a comic book movie where it's like going to be 100%
right. You have to make up a little story or whatever.
To any...
But they always kept the names correct.
Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. They took a bunch of different storylines and threw it into a blender.
But the movie itself I liked. You didn't like it, right? No.
No, not one.
But you did like Justice League.
Yeah, I did. I don't know.
I liked it too.
Everyone hates Justice League, but I didn't mind it.
The thing with me is being like
I didn't love Justice League, but I thought it was okay. I thought Justice League was better than Man of Steel.
Man of Steel, right.
It was better than Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Even though I like that one.
Mm-hmm. And it was better than The Dark Knight Rises. The Dark Knight Rises.
I was a fan of Dark Knight Rises, and again,
I thought The Dark Knight Rises.
You're more of a comic book expert than I am, but when I see these movies, I actually like what they have to offer sometimes. Like, in other words, it would take a lot for me to not like it. Like, I loved Wonder Woman. I thought they did a good job. I think you're in agreement. You
yeah, Wonder Woman was good.
Aquaman was pretty good also.
Yeah, I liked it.
And you also liked the Justice League leading up to it.
But not everyone liked those movies. I'm just saying, like, you're never going to get, especially with the retconning, the rebooting, even within the comic book storylines, you're never going to get a precise...
Right, an accurate description of the original comics you used to read. They always change it up.
Exactly.
Well, like with XMen, they didn't really feature Colossus that much.
No.
He was hardly ever in the damn show. And I like to see him because he wasn't the first. Was he in a second one?
And Iceman. Iceman barely played. Iceman was
right. He was just like scared to use his powers.
Yeah, and he was there to just like flirt with the younger girls there. That's basically what Iceman was there. You never saw it, or maybe.
Do you think that
once in a bit you saw him in Iceman? Like Colossus. Colossus did nothing.
Yeah, right. No, he didn't do much. But when I look at it though, and not being like as much of an expert in comic book history as you are, I used to collect comics, but
I'm not even an expert.
Well, you're more of an expert than I am, but I like the movies a lot more than most people would. Like, in other words, if you take someone who's a die-hard X-Men fan, do you think they're gonna like all the X-Men movies? Probably not. They'll probably like one, maybe two. You don't like The Last Stand.
Yeah, but it's also that, like, you also have to... See, like I was saying before, man, no one's gonna get it accurate. Look, the very first X-Men movie, right?
Yes.
If they were to make a comic book back in the 60s of the very first X-Men team, it wouldn't have been a success because you don't have the characters like Wolverine and Storm.
Right.
The original X-Men, Wolverine and Storm, weren't part of the X-Men, but you have to keep them in what you're going to do of the movies now because it's going to keep it with the characters that you like.
Right. I see what you're saying with that. But there's very few like comic book movies that I really didn't like. Like everyone loves the Avengers trilogy. I liked it too, but there was a lot of fluff. There was a lot of boring dialogue that didn't need to be there. The last one, Endgame, was like 3.5 hours. Do you think it needed to be 3.5 hours? They could have cut it down.
No. Well, Endgame's the only one I didn't like.
Yeah, and that's the one that everyone loved. It made the most money. It made more than obviously Avatar.
Not this guy. Not this guy right here.
You know, but it's just weird how it works out like that. Now with the Avengers, do you think they're gonna do a reboot of it now that it's over? Because pretty much it's over now. You can't make another Avengers movie continuing because it's pretty much done, right?
Well, it's like
unless they make it without Captain America and the other ones.
It's like up in the air of what they're gonna do with it, right?
Well, I wonder what they're gonna do because I think they're gonna reboot. I think they're gonna reboot X-Men now that it's gone to who owns it now? Disney.
Yeah, now they own it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, there's no more Fox. So Disney never did their own X-Men movie. I'm dying to see how they make Wolverine. Who's gonna play Wolverine? I'm dying to see who plays Wolverine. Like who?
I'm just dying to see the Wolverine mask.
Exactly. Right. We never got to see the Wolverine mask in the movies.
I'm sorry, man. Part of what drew me into being a fan of comic book characters was their crazy costumes. I don't give a like everyone's like, oh, they have to look realistic, blah blah blah. No, these are superhero characters.
But they're
superhero characters. Let Wolverine wear his crazy mask.
Well, exactly. Even in the first X-Men, do you remember when Cyclops made the reference?
Yeah, you were looking black, and yellow spandex.
Yellow spandex, right?
Yeah.
But they never actually put them in those suits, which was weird that they didn't do that. But I think if Disney reboots it, or they do a reboot, they're gonna have everyone in their respective costumes.
But I don't like when they're so afraid to put the comic book characters in movies into their costumes in the movies. It's so dumb.
Well, which is so ridiculous because that's what it's based on. Like if you look at the Flash and the Arrow, they're pretty much in those TV shows. They're in those actual same costumes. If you look at Shazam, that comic book, he's pretty much in the same costume, but for some reason they don't want to put them in the same.
But then you get Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye, but it's just Jeremy Renner with a bow and arrow.
Right.
No, he doesn't have Hawkeye's mask.
He doesn't have right, exactly. But if you talk about X-Men characters, who do you think they portrayed it the best? Like, would you say Storm? They did a good job making her like with the white hair, like because they changed
you mean like
her.
Best casting?
The best, well, not the best casting, but the way they made them look in the actual.
Dude who played Sabretooth in the very first X-Men movie. That dude.
Okay, yes.
He was a good. Mindless idiot.
He was a mindless idiot.
He was a mindless idiot. Dude looked dead like Sabretooth, though.
Do you like the way they did Magneto? Or even Mystique?
I did, but they should have got a bit of a younger, like Ian McKellen as Magneto.
Yeah, he's a little over the top. Yeah, right, a little old for that role.
A little too geriatric. I mean, I know Magneto
Mystique looked great, though. She's probably the best done character.
Oh, yeah.
Because they made her transform very nicely. I like the way they did that.
But they did. It's like they did a crap. Like going back to Batman movies. Going back to Batman movies.
Even though they changed it over the years, but the costumes.
I hated Danny DeVito Joker.
Right.
I hated. Penguin.
Right.
Danny DeVito Penguin. I hated the way they did Danny DeVito as the Penguin. And alright, sure, Michelle Pfeiffer looked great as Catwoman.
Yeah.
I hated the way they did Catwoman in that movie. I hated that.
What was it about the comic that? What did you not like about it? Like that she was like all sultry. Like what didn't you like about it?
She was more of a psycho
That is true. You're right. She was like a psycho, exactly.
In Batman Returns.
Rather than a cat burglar, she was like a nutcase.
Yeah.
Right. A nutcase with a costume.
And the same thing with the Penguin. He's like biting people's fingers off. He came from the sewers. Like I didn't particularly like those things. But
yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. What about the Spider-Man movies? Like, did you like the way they put? Do you like the Tom Holland ones better than the Tobey Maguires?
I particularly didn't see any solo Spider-Man movie.
Oh, that's right. We were gonna watch the other one. Right.
Amazing Spider-Man.
But basically, everyone loves Tom Arnold. I mean, Tom Arnold. Listen, the guy. That's how I talk.
Tom
Arnold as no. I'm talking about Tom Holland.
That'd be great recast.
Oh yeah, Tom Arnold with Roseanne and Mary Jane. Hey, what are you doing, Tom? But with her squeaky, irritating voice.
No, alright. I like the Tobey Maguire ones, but also they didn't keep true to the comics. He was
because of the
spewing
web,
webs out of his wrists as opposed to having the, But it
wasn't even that hard to do. They could have easily put it that
they could have, yeah.
Because he was
especially
a genius.
Since he's a genius.
I mean, they could have done
pretty dumb. That is pretty
that's
dumb.
a great point. I don't know why they didn't stick to that. Again, that was a Fox made. I believe it was Fox, right?
But I'm just saying they were, like. All right, the first.
But they were entertaining.
The first two. I won't say three. Three.
I liked 3 also with the Sandman.
The only thing I liked the 3 was Sandman, but.
Obviously the Goblin who came out of his.
New Goblin.
The new Goblin.
Not. They couldn't even be so unoriginal to call him just Hobgoblin and make him a.
Right.
No, they had to call him New Goblin.
But I do like the way he lost his memory and all that. Let me tell you something. That guy, James Franco, better thank the lucky stars that he was in a Marvel movie. Nowadays, he's all in type shows that are like the Me Too movement type shows, like Spring Break and The Deuce.
All right, well let's not get
into that. Right? I'm just saying though.
Let's not sidetrack.
But he doesn't seem to be okay. We won't sidetrack. But yeah, he doesn't seem to be the kind of character that would be the Goblin. He's Goblin.
But what do you? All right, for you.
Mm-hmm.
You said you didn't read as much comics as I did back
if I had
but
to,
you did read comics.
And when we go back to our favorite villain, like mine is Dr. Doom, yours is Dr. Doom.
He's one of my favorite
villains. They pretty did a good job in the first 2 series with the Dr. Doom.
No, they didn't.
You don't like the way so you like the way they did it in the reboot, after the reboot?
I didn't like any way they did Dr. Doom.
Okay. I guess they could have done it better. Because they didn't really have much of Dr. Doom in both of the, in part 2 he was pretty much there.
I hated the way especially that first one. That first series.
The guy from Nip Tuck, he played.
And see, I didn't hate those. Everyone hates those 2 Fantastic Four movies. Everyone hates.
I don't hate them. I actually like them. That's where I'm in disagreement with you. I actually like.
No, I don't hate them. I'm saying everyone hated those movies. I don't hate them. I thought they should have made. First of all,
it wasn't like they had a bunch of Fantastic Four movies to compare it to.
But
those were the only ones.
Oh no, there was a failed one.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was a failed one in the 90s.
But I mean, they just keep.
They should have took Silver Surfer from the second Fantastic Four movie and made a whole
He was a good Silver Surfer.
Silver Surfer movie.
Well,
they could have did a whole movie.
And who was his boss that he was answering
Galactus.
to? Galactus, right. So
they should have made a whole movie.
Like an origin movie, you're saying? Or
they could have made an origin movie or a continuation movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he did a good job with Silver Surfer. But then he would still have to have... But Silver Surfer in the comics was a... Because he was a good guy, no?
He started as a lackey for Galactus.
Right, and then he kind of helped out.
But
Galactus, the killer of worlds, the destroyer of worlds.
The eater of worlds.
Whatever.
The devourer of worlds.
Thank you. The Pharaoh of worlds.
Devourer.
Devourer of worlds. Exactly what I'm saying. But I don't know if a Silver Surfer movie would hold up. Like if you had to
if they did it right, man. If they did it right, it would definitely hold up.
Other than Wolverine and the XMen movies, what other X-Men do you think should have an origin movie? I mean, X-Men was the most popular one, so they did obviously an origin movie, but you can't do the origin of Professor X?
They already did. First Class was an origin story of him. First Class was him and
Actually, yeah, it was the origin
Magneto's
story of a lot of them. Yeah, that's a good point you got there. Right. But it wasn't but it was really...
I mean, they didn't call it X-Men Origins,
Yeah.
Professor X,
but
or X-Men Origins
Right,
Magneto.
but they didn't only focus on him. They focused on him
On
and
the team.
Magneto.
And
It was an origin. It was pretty much an
and
X-Men
building
origin
the team,
movie in
yeah,
general.
and building the team.
Right. But Wolverine is the only one who got his own origin movie. And I like Wolverine Origins movie. I like that. A lot of people didn't like it.
Did you watch the unfinished one?
I did watch the finished one.
first one I saw was
The
the
guns went in the
unfinished
air.
one.
It was all like, It was amazing how a lot of people got to see that one. I
It's
don't
like
know.
claws grow.
Yeah, it was just it was like a diagram on computer. Some of it was computerized. It was weird. I don't want to see the making of CGI. I want to see the finished product. I don't want to see the stupid guns in the air
We're 15 minutes
with the
in here.
rotation going. Oh, you're recording. Oh, I guess random thoughts. But really though. But going into the comic book stuff also, are you more of a Marvel or DC guy?
Well, I started mostly with DC, but I got into Marvel. I never cared.
So right now they're like equal to you, like, cause I was always a Marvel. Well, I was in.
Everyone I talked to was like, "Oh, I was more of a Marvel guy than anything." But I never
Because that's
cared.
a huge debate. You can have it's like almost Biggie and Tupac. Do you like DC or do you like Marvel? Like, there's always gonna be a big debate behind that.
I never cared.
Like, who is the equivalent to Superman?
As long as I liked the characters, as long as the characters kept me coming to buy the comics every month, I didn't care.
Yeah, but back then Marvel was always more popular. DC was always like the little brother to Marvel, right? Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, but DC had some brutal storylines in their comic books. They had some.
Well, I think DC was always a little, especially now that Disney owns Marvel, we're not going to see anything brutal, but, no, I agree with you, even though Batman, a lot of people will wonder.
A Death in the Family.
Right, A Death in the Family.
Where the Joker kills Jason Todd, the second Robin. That storyline
Which I learned by watching Titans. That you fill me in on that, because even though I read the comic books, I still didn't remember everything that's going on.
But that comic right there, I think I was like 10 years old the first time I read that.
Were you devastated?
It wasn't just devastation. It was like
what the hell's going on? What are they gonna do?
Yeah, it was like, wow, this is really, really, really heavy stuff to to throw out little kids who like to read Batman. Comics in the 80s, they really started getting heavy with stuff like with the violence and the brutal loss of people. Like
right. You know what's interesting though about the way they ended the end game? You take two of the three characters that died. Spoiler alert, but they were like two of the most famous characters in the Avengers, right? Captain America and Iron Man, no?
I hated it.
You didn't like Iron Man?
I hated that movie. No,
I understand what you're saying though,
it.
but eventually you have to kill some people off because it's becoming like routine now. You kill somebody off and then what happens? The next movie, they bring them back somehow. What happened to ending it with ending it?
Going back to the comic books,
Mm-hmm.
they used to do that repeatedly.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, they did that with the unkillable characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But it almost discredits it after a while. I guess.
Yeah. If you're gonna keep bringing back the same character over and over again, who you thought was dead.
You thought was dead
5 minutes ago. Yeah.
But Superman finds out. In fact, how did Superman, after the Death of Superman comic came out, how did he come back to life in the comics?
I didn't even read the whole series of after how he came back.
He must have found like remember that
I know
movie when he found
when it restarted, they came back as 4 different Supermen.
like a bad one, a good one, a clumsy one.
There was,
A clumsy Superman who flies into freaking buildings.
There was two.
Imagine they do that, like almost like the Greatest American Hero. He just starts flying. He's like,
randomly flying through the neighborhood and cutting through skyscrapers.
Superman just took the torch off. He just flew through the torch of the Statue of Liberty with tourists.
Anyway, for comic book movies, you're never going to get
exactly the replica of the comic book.
You're never going to get
The Boys. Well, they changed that up too, but the TV show The Boys,
Yeah,
which
I
wasn't.
didn't know that was a comic until the show came
And neither did I, and I love The Boys.
Because I'm strictly...
And anybody who's not watching The Boys on Amazon should start watching it right away because it is excellent.
Oh, you sound like a commercial.
Let me tell you, they're not sponsoring me right now, and neither is My Pillow. But let me tell you something, you gotta watch The Boys. It is great.
But for preciseness of comic books compared to movies, the one thing I remember, because when I was going to comic book stores in the 90s, I used to see the Sin City comics on the shelves all the time, and I never bought them. I should have.
And then you watch the movie and you're like, oh, I should have bought
Years later, saw the movie, right? And then after I saw the movie, I'm in like, what was it?
That's a big thing too. People who've seen the movies without reading the comics are like, oh, I gotta get the comics now.
But I'm in some place like Barnes and Nobles or Virgin Megastore, someplace like that, and they used to have comic sections of the graphic novels. And I picked up the Sin City book after I saw the movie, and I'm flipping through it. It was word for word.
Was it as R-rated as the movie was?
And it was word for word, shot for shot. Everything that went on in the movie, of the first Sin City movie, because I didn't see the second Sin City movie.
Remember that guy who had the face?
Yeah.
Like, what was his name?
The yellow one.
And who played that guy? Somebody.
Oh, wait. Wait. Are you talking about Mickey Rourke?
Mickey Rourke, right. He was a,
I thought you were talking about the yellow guy for a second.
Oh, well, him too. But no, Sin City was another one that, there's a lot of, there's a lot of shows I watched.
Did you know that was a comic book before?
I did not, and that's my point. A lot of people will watch these shows, like The Boys. I had no idea it was a comic book. I watched the show, and then I started looking at excerpts, things from the comic book online, and I'm like, wow, that's a case where a movie made the comic more popular than the comic made the movie. You know what I'm trying to say? They took and that's a good thing. Almost like the Umbrella Academy. I know you haven't seen it, but the Umbrella Academy was a comic book that wasn't that good.
We're talking about shows.
Right. The Umbrella Academy is... Oh, okay. Okay. You got it. But whatever. Movies...
We're at 21 minutes now.
Movies, TV shows, whatever. And we're rambling on here. But, people have to understand the way, it goes. If I could say any comic book movie that really was... Like Spawn. Did you like the first Spawn movie?
No.
I didn't like it either. But they're redoing it, I think, with... Is it Jamie Foxx?
They are redoing it. I know they're redoing it.
Yeah, with Jamie Foxx. So, we'll see how that goes. But there's some comic book movies that turn out to be disasters. And if you remember, before they had the Hulk movie, they had the Lou Ferrigno, which everybody loved that. But
I love it, though.
I kind of liked it because it was different from back in the days. But you look at it now, it's like, where was the CGI?
Yeah, but I could watch the Linda Carter Wonder Woman show before I could watch the Lou Ferrigno Hulk show.
And I'm with you because she looks great.
Alright, not only does she look awesome, but at least she's running around as Wonder Woman.
Right.
And the Hulk show would be like, you get like a max of 5 minutes of him in Hulk action.
Right.
If you were lucky to watch an episode of The Incredible Hulk.
And even though we're older now, but back in the days, I didn't realize that when Bruce Banner turned into the Hulk, there's no reason why his pants should still be on his body. Like, they turned into shorts.
Yeah, people said that a lot.
It doesn't make any sense. He ripped through the thing.
He should be naked.
Yeah, he should be naked.
A giant naked green roid head running through the streets.
No, but
flexing. I remember that's a lot of thing too. Like the Hulk show, there was a lot of him flexing. Like people would throw a chair at him, and it would break over him. He just in slow motion. You just flex.
But you know what I think is happening with superhero movies or in general DC or Marvel? They're pumping out so many movies that they're kind of saturating the market.
Sorry, we got distracted by TV talk again.
Sorry about that. But they are movies, they're saturating the market. They're pumping out like 5 superhero movies, only for the last few years.
A month.
Yeah, I mean, it's just getting ridiculous. And I think that's why, some of these movies are not going to, do so great. But the last few DC movies were okay. The Marvel movies, with Wonder Woman and everything. Wonder Woman, that's DC. But Avengers, what else do they have on Marvel? They have Avengers, they have the SpiderMan.
What last came out?
That's pretty much it. The last 2 ones that came out.
Yeah, but Spider-Man's done.
And Captain Marvel, which a lot of people...
Spider-Man's done.
Spider-Man
Sony ain't letting Disney touch Spider-Man anymore.
Yeah,
Sony was like, Disney, get your grubby hands off of
That's-
off of our Spider-Man.
It's all politics. But,
Disney deserves it. Sorry.
Well, it's almost like right, the monopoly that deserves
You
right.
deserve it. Sorry.
I mean, Disney owns everything now. I mean,
Yeah,
everything.
there needs to be a stop put to that.
ESPN. I mean, yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? But they do make great movies. But yeah, we'll get back to this again, ladies and gentlemen, and random thoughts. That's all we talk about.
Hope you like this dark, dingy room that we're talking in.
From New York City live.
It's me and
Him.
and Mikey over here.
Mikey. Have a good one, guys.
Peace out, everybody.